Justin Bieber, breaking his silence on the ordeal after months of speculation over their one-time relationship. His rep telling ET, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve.
Justin Bieber has officially broken his silence, and what he's revealing about Diddy is turning the entire industry on its head. After years of whispers, cover-ups, and disturbing allegations, the truth is finally spilling out. This week, it's more explosive than ever. We're now 4 weeks into Diddy's federal trial, and the courtroom has become a spotlight for decades of secrets. On May 19th, singer and former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard took the stand and stunned the jury with her testimony. She recounted a 2010 incident where she says she watched Diddy punch Cassie Ventura in the stomach during a private conversation at a restaurant in West Hollywood. Cassie immediately bent over in pain and left the scene. But here's where it gets worse. Usher was there, and according to Dawn, he didn't say a word.
Dawn Richard says she wasn't alone in witnessing Sean Diddy Combs' abuse. During her second day of testimony in the music mogul's federal trial, the 41-year-old described an alleged 2010 incident of Combs punching then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a West Hollywood, California restaurant and said Usher was also a witness to the event.
That same night, as Cassie and Dawn got into a car to leave, another violent outburst occurred. Dawn testified that Diddy slapped Cassie, popped her in the mouth, and told her to shut up. Other celebrities were reportedly present too, including Neo, Jimmy Iovine, and Big Daddy Kane, but not one of them stepped in.
When Richard and Ventura got into a car to leave after the alleged restaurant incident, Richard said another physical altercation took place between Combs, who has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his then-girlfriend. She continues in her testimony, quote, "We got in the car to head back to her house. Combs grabbed her, slapped her, popped her in the mouth, and told her to shut the up."
Justin Bieber, who had remained eerily quiet through all of this, has now entered the conversation. His rep issued a statement making it clear. Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from that reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. Behind the polished wording, the subtext is clear. Justin knows a lot more than he's saying. Let's not forget, Justin was a teenager when he first started hanging out with Diddy. Old footage has resurfaced showing the two together, and it is deeply unsettling. There's Diddy telling Justin they're going to get some girls after an Usher concert. There's Justin on late-night TV talking about how Diddy bought him a Lamborghini, then awkwardly backtracking when asked about how much access he had to Diddy's house. Looking back, these clips aren't cute, they're chilling. Even more disturbing,
got me a Lamborghini.
That's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Usher was the one who introduced Justin to Diddy in the first place. Usher was his mentor, his big brother, the guy who promised to look out for him. People are now questioning whether Usher simply handed Justin over. While that may sound extreme, it's what's being implied across social media, by former insiders, and even in the courtroom. According to leaked reports, Justin is allegedly one of the anonymous witnesses that federal prosecutors may still call to testify. While his rep is denying direct involvement, sources say the singer has already been approached behind the scenes. This would explain a lot, especially the erratic social media posts, the public breakdowns, and his quiet but sudden severing of ties with Usher. It's not just Usher under fire. The trial has named celebrities including Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, and Ashton Kutcher. The court hasn't said these people are guilty of anything, but prosecutors asked potential jurors whether any of these names would affect their impartiality, and that speaks volumes. Why else bring them up unless there's a reason? This goes beyond one man. This is a network, a pattern, a cover-up. Justin Bieber's struggles didn't start randomly. He's spoken about the trauma he experienced growing up in the industry and how he now feels protective over young stars like Billie Eilish. When you piece everything together, it's hard not to see the cracks in the system that failed him. Actor Terrence Howard suggested publicly that artists like Justin and Usher turn to drugs not because they're reckless, but because they're trying to cope. He says they're haunted by what they've been through and they use substances to numb the pain. Howard also dropped a brutal truth bomb. Achieving fame and fortune means nothing if you lose your soul in the process.
I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most, and so they end up on drugs.
People who knew Justin back then are saying the same thing. He was isolated, scared, and manipulated. While many looked the other way, Usher didn't just look away. He laughed. There's footage of him joking about Justin's leaked private photos when he was still a minor. That wasn't just tasteless, it was revealing. To this day, Justin has unfollowed Usher. He skipped out on Usher's Super Bowl halftime show. During a past legal deposition, when asked whether Usher helped launch his career, Justin visibly shut down. The man who once called Usher his mentor couldn't even acknowledge him.
You get career. Do you know Raymond Usher IV?
No.
Do you know an individual, an entertainer by the name of Usher?
Yeah, Usher. That sounds familiar.
Isn't it true that Usher was instrumental in starting your career?
What does that have to do with this litigation, Mr. DeKalb? This is just you trying to harass the client.
As more testimonies emerge, the pattern becomes horrifyingly clear. Every person who has tried to expose Diddy in the last decade has mysteriously died, many of them from pneumonia. Others were threatened, silenced, or made to vanish from the spotlight. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit was settled in less than 24 hours, but the impact lingered. Now, she's back in court, joined by other women like Mia, a former assistant who accused Diddy of rape and emotional torture. When cross-examined, Diddy's team tried to discredit her with old friendly texts, but Mia held her ground, telling the jury, "Everything I've said is true. I didn't come forward sooner because I was terrified." Then there's the firebombing incident. Kid Cudi testified that Diddy broke into his home and set his car on fire with a Molotov cocktail after learning he was dating Cassie. The LAPD found fingerprints, but somehow those prints were destroyed. Coincidence? Doubtful. The judge denied a mistrial but told the jury to disregard the fingerprint testimony, which only made things murkier. Even more shocking, on the day of his arrest, Diddy was caught with $9,000 in cash, drugs, and bags of baby oil and Astroglide in a hotel room. Investigators testified that hundreds of bottles of baby oil and ropes were recovered from his home. In what world is this not an open and shut case? Yet the defense is still working overtime to discredit victims like Mia. They're trying to paint her as a liar or someone who stayed in touch too long. But if you know anything about trauma, you know that victims often remain connected to their abusers out of fear, confusion, or manipulation. That doesn't make their stories any less true. Meanwhile, Diddy continues to deny everything. He's pleaded not guilty and claims all encounters were consensual. But as more people come forward, the wall of silence that protected him for decades is finally cracking. And Justin, he may hold the key. His silence for all these years wasn't cowardice, it was survival. But now, the tide is turning. As we keep watching this trial unfold, one thing is clear. This isn't just a legal battle, it's a reckoning. So if you want to stay locked in while Hollywood's dark secrets keep spilling out, you know what to do. Subscribe, and don't miss the next chapter in this unfolding storm.